All right. Thank you for following me here on Whitney Farms. Today, we're actually not on Whitney Farms. We're on Huda Urban Gardens. Huda Urban Gardens. And today I'm talking to Kaz, and he's the founder of Huda Urban Gardens, and he's going to tell us a little bit about Huda Urban Gardens. So what got you started into Huda Urban Gardens?
Yeah, absolutely. So what got me started is actually I used to be an intern at the clinic down there. And so that's the Huda Urban, just the Huda Clinic. Huda stands for Health Unit on Davison Ave, and it's a free clinic. Anybody that doesn't have insurance, needs dental care, needs to see a doctor, whatever the needs may be, they can help, or they can find a place that can help. And so it's completely free to the community. And from that, what really stemmed the garden starting is I used to work with a PA, his name was Q, and we would go see patients, we talk to them, and you do like the basic checkup, blood pressure, their blood sugar, their cholesterol, and everyone that come through, their numbers are through the roof. And we'd be like, what's going on? Like, what'd you have for breakfast? They're like, McDonald's? What'd you have for lunch then? Wendy's? We're like, why? Like, look around. Look around. Where do you want me to get anything fresh, right? So it stemmed that idea. And the best way to not be on medicine is to use food as medicine, right? If you're healthy in the first place, then you don't need to be on all the medications for your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your diabetes. Like that all develops mostly because of unhealthy lifestyle or the foods that we eat, right? So it started as a little plot. I'd have to wheel out the hose from the clinic all the way over here on a big spool. And every crop is designed to help with some sort of comorbidity, something that is either contributing to your cholesterol, your high blood pressure, maybe some mental health herbs and whatnot. And so that's where it really stemmed from. I love the idea. I got involved. I graduated college, went off to start working, and something just drew me back in the garden. And so we're back. We're doing everything we can to get it up and running, even stronger than it was before. So that's the quick and dirty of how we got into the garden.
So you're really active in the community, healthy eating. I hear that quite often, that food is medicine. So kind of show us what's some of the good foods that you have for your high blood pressure and other sorts of ailments that people have.
Absolutely. So we can start over here. The garden is laid out in 4 major plots with raised beds around and then a field in the center. So in this plot, we have a lot of tomatoes. We have basil growing with them as a plant, along with cilantro.
This is cilantro here. What are these? Are these cherry tomatoes?
We have a whole assortment. I think these are the yellow pears, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay.
We do have them mixed and matched in the boxes. So
here's this is basil, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Little baby basil. We just started the garden up not too long ago, just in a few weeks.
Okay. So, question here. I see you have raised beds.
Yes.
What is the black felt tarp for?
Good question. So with the tomatoes especially, what we noticed last year is we weren't out here every day. And it's tough to expect folks that are volunteers, that have their own lives, to be out here every day. And so in the times where maybe something falls off during the night or the day before, and we can get here, if the tomato's touching the dirt, it's going to immediately start to decompose. We're going to have bugs get into it and try to start eating it, and nature work its magic. If the tarp's here, it helps with a few things. Number one, it helps with our weeding situation, so we're not out here every day pulling out fresh weeds that came up during the week. And also, if a tomato does fall in the felt, it's easier to preserve and make sure that it doesn't start to decompose immediately. It helps with our efficiency when taking that produce and sending it over to the clinic, I should say. Because all the food that is grown here goes to the clinic, there's an open fridge, free for anyone to take. It's labeled, whatever you want, we'll wash it, we'll package it, it goes there, and it's free to the patients, it's free to the community. Anybody that's walking by that wants something, please come in and really enjoy the food tomorrow.
And so you have this open space here.
Yes.
And so is this going to be a garden with rows, or what are you going to do with this garden?
So right now we have melons planted here. It's a mixture of watermelons and cantaloupes and what we can get our hands on. We're a little bit too close for my comfort, but I figured if we can get enough water here and let them spread out in other directions, we should be okay. And so a lot of melons in this plot. And the plot behind, we do have zucchinis and squash, and the zucchinis last year really flourished. They grew pretty big and we're able to produce a lot of it.
Okay.
So we can take a walk over there.
Zucchini?
In the field. Zucchinis and squash in the field itself.
Okay.
Yes. And then here we've got a big mixture of different plants and herbs. So cucumbers, we've got herbs, a lot of like dill, cilantro, some stevia, some celery, okra, a good mixture of like kale, eggplant, cabbage. Really decent mixture, so if you don't like one thing, you can try something else. Maybe you've never tried it before, and that's why you've never really bought it or ate it. So we encourage people to try new things. Stevia was a new one for me, so that's like the artificial, I guess it's not artificial sweetener, it's a sweetener that comes from the plant, and so I love just taking the leaf off and just chew it.
Okay.
Without you knowing what it is.
Right.
Just trust me, chew it.
Chew
And
it.
they go, oh, it's sweet. We're like, yeah, it's stevia, and so instead of sugar, maybe you can look at this as an alternative, right?
Right.
And so things that help with, diabetes, like the sweetener that is no sugar, not spiking blood sugar. A lot of the different herbs, celery, are really good for like your blood pressure. And just another good mixture of plants, because if you don't like one thing, at least you're eating something healthy, even if it doesn't do the most for your health in terms of treating something. It will do a great deal and swing you away from other foods that will do something negative to you.
Okay.
Right.
And so you have, I see over here you have volunteers.
Yes.
And so volunteers is what you use to actually maintain the garden.
Yes. For the most part, it's volunteers. We do have a board where we're out here pretty often, the main members. The clinic does send some interns our way as well, as they do support us and we support them. And so, yes, volunteers are greatly appreciated. We love having new folks and smiling faces. So please, if you're ever in the area, come on by and we'll be happy to get you involved and have you walk away with some fresh produce as well.
And so can you tell the people where they can actually come and volunteer, where they need to make that contact?
Absolutely. You can reach out to me directly. I can provide my contact information, as well as every Saturday between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. on the corner of Buena Vista and Woodrow Wilson. We'll be here.
Okay, and that's there in Detroit, right?
That's in Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan. And so over here, I noticed that you have, what do you call it?
Gazebo.
It's a gazebo. Yeah, okay. So I noticed that you have this aluminum roof.
Yes.
Are you planning on using rainwater and putting, gutters and building a rain barrel system?
So that was an initiative in the past that we wanted to do. We've been fortunate enough to actually get hookups from the city of Detroit for the water spigots that we're using for our irrigation system, which has made it easier because this garden takes a lot more water than we're able to collect, right? And so this has been an installation through the help of Wayne State, where we've received an Americana grant that's helped us construct the shed, construct the gazebo. There's actually a solar panel connected to the box down here.
Oh,
And so Yep, we do have a little bit of power. We can use the power speaker, maybe some garden tools that run on electronics that are corded, and other things, lights and whatever it may be. And so I would love to be fully self-sustainable, but at the scale that we're at and the limited amount of space that we can collect water, I haven't figured out a way where we can do that easily and keep the produce coming up that way.
All right, so now that we're on the irrigation system, I
Yes.
did notice that over here you have a drip water system.
Yes.
And so apparently the water comes through this
Yes.
tubing, and
You can pull it out.
okay, the water comes through this tubing, and the water drips out of here and it drips next to the crops to the roots.
Yes.
This is a very sophisticated system, and it actually works and actually helps keep the crops irrigated. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is very new. We actually just put this in. And that's why we started a little bit later. We were working on getting this put in. So with the support of the clinic, we were able to help fund this. And this was a design of mine that I just was hoping would work, and it has. In terms of, we're connected to the spigots, and each spigot will support 2 plots with the raised beds in the fields. And each box can individually be turned on or off, and so that it doesn't stop the supply to the next box. And the reason we did it that way is we noticed in previous years we'd get a lot of water waste from boxes that maybe the crops had finished earlier or were in between transitioning crops, and so we didn't want to waste water on boxes that didn't have anything in there. And on top of it, it was the drip style, but it was dripping onto the soil, which would take a lot more water to get down to the roots. And you'll notice that on a hot day like this, you'll lose a lot of it just to the sun. And
Right.
so getting it down under the top layer of the soil into the roots helps the plants really take in that moisture and not just lose it all to the sun, right?
Absolutely. And so the weeding system,
Yes.
I have not been able to accomplish this. It
Yeah.
seems as if you get a lot of rain, you come out the next day, and it's like, yeah, like they just had 20 quadruplet babies.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to actually keep the weeds down? Are you using an organic system, or are you using some type of fertilizer or some type of?
So everything in the garden is organic, and it doesn't get more organic than your own hands, because
Right.
all we've been doing is pulling out the weeds with our hands.
Okay.
Last year was a very strong weed situation that we had to pull out for weeks and weeks and weeks, and that was one of our concerns, was how do we stop this so that we don't spend 3 hours a day just weeding, right? Like, we were here once a week, and between Saturday to Saturday you'll have a weed that was this big, and by the time you're back it's up to like the waist. So we did a lot in terms of prep, where we would weed all the boxes. We tried to turn over as many as we can, and the tarps are a great help for sure. They keep the weeds at bay, and anything that does sneak through the cracks, we're able to address it and get rid of. On top of it, we're just here more often. That's a big thing. With the garden, it takes maintenance, it takes attention, and the once a week wasn't cutting it. Of course, with volunteers, it's tough, so I'm spending a little more time, but I enjoy it, so it's nice. And so we're able to come out a little more often, keep them at bay, and just getting your hands in the garden and pulling out pepper here and there, keeps us in a good spot.
Okay.
So we don't spray anything. The only thing we are starting to implement is for our cabbage and our kale and like the cruciferous stuff. We did have a pest issue last year where our yield was really low, and we weren't, I wouldn't confidently give someone a cabbage that had bugs in it, and so it hurt us a little bit. So I've looked into some organic, like pest deterrent, peppermint oil, maybe some neem oil, cayenne pepper, vinegar, different mixtures that can be sprayed on the leaves that won't affect anyone that's eating it and can be washed out very easily. And so we're taking that route. Hopefully it will increase our yield, keep the bugs at bay, and we really don't want to bring anything that isn't natural into the garden, right?
Now, you just saw that butterfly. Did you see that butterfly that you went through?
Yeah.
Have you have a problem with the butterflies eating like your kale and your cabbage? Do you have collard greens here?
should be growing greens. We got all the greens in these boxes. And so, yeah, we should. And when they come up. I haven't noticed too big of a problem with the butterflies. We actually, I'm glad that you mentioned butterflies. We do have a little section here where we are growing butterflies. So over here in this area, I have one of my garden managers. Her name is Jasmine, and they are growing some rue and some dill. And I'm looking for the caterpillar that was here. A lot of them are starting to go into their chrysalis, so I think they're starting to form like a cocoon and go into that phase of their life. We had one here earlier. I'm not sure if it was moved. Maybe we can check for the box. I'll bring it later and we can take a look at it. But we've got some butterflies in the garden that are definitely growing and helping pollinate. And one thing that I learned about butterflies is they remember where they were born, and so they will keep coming back here. So if they hatched or they emerge from their cocoon here, they'll stay around this area. And so they'll help pollinate, and it's a nice, atmosphere. Just seeing a couple butterflies floating around while you're working.
Absolutely. And I see over here, if you want to walk over here, we have your trees.
We do.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a walk over here.
Absolutely. So in this section, we've got a couple of fruit trees that we put in over time. I really want to work on making sure that they're also well watered. That's another initiative. But you can see that we're fruiting a little bit. Definitely could use more water and maybe a little trimming. Yes. Pear tree. We got some small apples as well. We actually recently discovered a little mulberry tree growing along the side of the fence. So we're helping some orchard views as well. And
Now, is this a crab apple?
I believe so.
Okay, crab apple tree.
Yeah. And these were planted a little bit before my time
Okay.
in terms of when it happened and my attention to it, but we love it. Anybody that wants them, come grab some.
Awesome. And you said that there's a mulberry tree.
Yeah, mulberry tree. It's very it's a new discovery. Pretty small. Here. Tree. And we did get like a few berries that are like starting to develop. I mean, now that we know that it's here, this was literally discovered last week.
Okay.
Just in the midst of all the chaos, we can start to give it a little more water and support it and bring it out. Also looking to do a little bit more with the grapes and the vines. And yep, so they're not really the grapes that grow large or too edible. They're little sour grapes, but we do have a couple vines of like the Concord grapes, the really nice, thick, taste like bubblegum grape. And so I do want to get that up and growing along the fences, so it's better scenery and something that we can definitely take away from and distribute.
So a little history about grapes.
Yes.
Michigan is known for its grapes. I don't know if most people knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and they're like Welch's grapes, the Concord wine.
Yeah.
We're known. Michigan is actually known for growing good Concord grapes.
That's awesome.
And if you look at some of the old neighborhoods in Detroit,
Yeah.
let's say around the 80s, Detroit was a little bit more diverse.
Yeah.
You would go into anyone's backyard and you would see a Concord grape
Yeah.
vineyard
Really?
in their backyard. Like these people literally had like these, trellises where, you just go outside and just grab some grapes.
That's so nice to have. Yeah.
So I am very happy to see that you are growing grapes. And it reminds me back of, my childhood. So when I see that, it's like awesome.
We try to do what we can for the community. Everything goes to support the folks that are around here, and so it's nice to give back. It's nice to be a part of something like that. And I like gardening, selfishly, I want to be here, so it's a good win-win.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for the interview, for the conversation, to talk. Keep doing what you're doing in the community. We really appreciate it. Can you tell the people, you're a nonprofit, right?
Correct.
Can you tell the people where they can actually make donations if they would like to make donations?
Absolutely.
And you can say you can volunteer. Can you tell the people so they know?
Absolutely. So we're on 2 platforms right now: Instagram at Huda Urban Garden, and Facebook as well at Huda Urban Garden. In the link in the bio, there's a way that will get you to sign up to volunteer, donate, and any penny helps. Really, everything is self-funded for the most part. Irrigation system, everything is volunteers help us out. We'll hold some fundraisers, and we could always use a little more resources just to take that pressure off of having to generate the money. But definitely at the Facebook or the Instagram, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to me directly if you want to include my contact info in there as well. And I'd absolutely love to get you involved in any which way that you'd like to.
Okay. And so this is what I would like you to do. I would like for you to love each other a little bit more, judge each other a little bit less, be blessed. This is Whitley Farms in Huda Garden. We'll take care of you here on the farms. Whitley Farms. I'm out.